Okay, let's just listen to how these envelopes sound. Again, attack, decay, sustain, release. So the attack is how long it takes to get to the maximum volume. The decay is how long it takes to get to the actual sustain. But if I increase the decay, this is doing absolutely nothing. And you may ask why. Well, what is the decay? I told you that the attack is how long it takes to get to the maximum volume. And then I told you the decay is how long it takes to get to the sustain. Well, in this case, the sustain is at 100%, which means that there is no decay. Okay, so it doesn't matter if it's, 26 seconds or if it's 2 seconds or if it's 1 second. In this instance, the decay does not matter because our sustain is at 100%. But as soon as you bring it back, even to 0.1 or 0.2, okay, now the decay actually works, okay? Now, you wouldn't really notice too much of a difference here at all, but if we bring it down to something like this, so again, our attack is how long it takes to get to the maximum volume, the decay is how long it takes to get to the sustain. If I'm holding down the note, it's going to stay here forever. And then if I let go of the note, then the release kicks in, which is how long it fades out. Okay, in this case, it's 15 milliseconds, that's super fast. So let's just bring it back to the way it was. Again, decay is doing nothing unless you actually have lowered your sustain. I'm going to click this lock here. It zooms it in so we can see it nice and big always. And if I press a note here, what's going to happen is the sound is going to immediately go to max volume, okay? It's going to stay at this loudness, at this sustain forever because we're holding on the note. And as soon as we let go of that note, it's going to have a very, very fast fade out. So here we go. So you can hear that is max volume. It's there forever. Watch this. If I take the sustain and if I bring it down, you can see that the actual volume is coming down because, again, I'm holding down the note and it's staying at the sustain. As soon as I let go of the note, that is when the release kicks in, okay? Now, I'm going to put this back to 100%. Let's first start with the attack. This is the easiest one to hear, and then we're actually going to move to the release because this is very, very easy to hear as well. And then we will focus on the decay and the sustain. I'll also throw in the hold there afterwards, okay? So right now, again, we have a very, very fast attack. As soon as I press that note, it turns on right away. Let's put a long attack in. Let's say like almost 1 second, okay? And you can actually watch the little blue ball as it actually goes, okay? So watch it. Okay, so it took time to get to the maximum volume. Do it again, watch that ball. Okay, and again, our sustain is at 100%, so it's going to stay at that loudness. If I bring back the attack, now we have a fast attack, okay? It's on right away. Takes time. It's taking time to get to the maximum volume. So that's it. Very, very easy with the attack. Now I'm going to have a fast attack just so it turns on right away, okay? And now let's focus on the release. So I told you that the release, once you let go of that note, is how long it takes to fade to zero, okay? So, or like to silence, okay? So let's have a very, very long release. And this is what it sounds like. Okay, so you hear how it's fading out. So I'm going to pull that back and let's just listen to that again. Okay, longer. Bring it back. So let's make it like 0. So as soon as I let go of the note, it's going to immediately stop playing. Now, when you are dealing with these envelopes, if you have things at 0, such as the release or the attack, sometimes you can kind of have like a click sound, a kind of a pop sound. So if you listen, I'm hearing the click. You hear that click? As soon as you increase a little bit of release, it's gone, okay? This is still a very, very fast release. So again, the attack is how long it takes to get to maximum volume. The release is once you actually let go of that note, the release kicks in, okay? So let's focus on the decay and the sustain. So again, since the sustain is at 100%, well, the decay is not working. So let's actually lower that, and now you can actually hear it, okay? We're actually going to have a faster decay. Now again, I told you that you want to have a decay and sustain in here because it makes your sound a little bit more natural. Now, not all sounds have to have a decay or whatever, okay? Every technique is different to get to that end result of your sound, Okay, but most sounds in general do benefit from having, some decay and a lower sustain because it makes the sound more natural. So let's first talk about what's going to happen and then let's listen for it. So we have a very, very fast attack. Okay, so as soon as I press that note, it's going to take 1.3 milliseconds to get to maximum volume. Okay, the decay is how long it takes to get to the sustain. So it's actually going to turn down in volume over 132 milliseconds. As I hold down that note, it's going to actually stay at this sustain and it's going to loop here forever because I'm holding down the note. As soon as I let go of that note, the release kicks in, which is the fade out. Okay, so let's just try it. And again, watch that blue ball and you're going to watch it, okay? Now, because our numbers are so fast, you're not really going to hear much, okay? So let's have a longer decay and I'll bring the sustain down a little bit and just watch the blue ball, okay? So I play the sound, it's maximum volume, and then it's going to take time to get to that sustain. And again, if I hold the note here, it's going to stay at this sustain forever. So I can increase the volume, I can bring it back, okay? Now, typically, you're actually going to adjust this, and then you're actually going to play the sound. Okay, and again, it's going to stay here at that sustain. As soon as I let go, the release kicks in. So let's have a longer release. And you're going to see as I play some notes. And again, I'm holding down these keys. As soon as I let go, we're going to have a bit of a release. Now, again, this is going to take a lot of time to really wrap your head around, okay? Again, this took me many, many years to really, really grasp and really get the concept of an envelope. Now, let's throw the hold in there. I don't want to confuse you, but this is how it works, okay? So again, we go to max volume. The hold is going to hold that maximum volume for, in this case, a second before the decay kicks in. And again, the decay is how long it takes to get to the sustain. As we actually hold our note down, it's going to loop here forever. And then the release kicks in just like normal. Okay, whenever you let go of that note, the release kicks in. So if I press and hold down a note, it's going to go to max volume. It's going to stay at max volume for that 1 second. And then the decay kicks in. So listen. There you go. You saw it. Okay. So watch right here. You see that blue ball. One more time. Watch the blue ball. And if I'm holding on the note, it's at that sustain. If I let go, there's the release. Okay. So in the next video, I'm going to break down this oscillator a little bit more because I want to get into further envelopes. Okay. So you might be asking, why do we have all these different envelopes? And let me hop over to Silence 1. Okay. So as you can see, here is the amp envelope. Here's other envelopes, they're mod. So these envelopes can allow you to control like this filter, or it allows you to control all these different things, okay? I don't want you to get overwhelmed. So how it works is envelope 1 is actually our volume envelope, okay? So it's what's controlling how our sound plays out. If we want it to make more of like a pluck sound, or if we want a sound that kind of plays slowly, such as like a pad. For example, if I play the sound right here, okay, so the sound is turning on right away. And then if I increase it, so here's more of like a pad sound. Now this is controlling the volume, and that's great because that's what these synths do. They have a volume envelope, okay, or an amplitude envelope. Again, Silence 1, they have an amp envelope, and this is what's controlling how that sound is played out, okay? Again, if you want to be plucky, if you want to be more like a pad, you can do that. In the case of Serum, that's envelope 1. Now you might ask, well, why do we have different envelopes? And that's what I want to get into. So for example, we can actually drag envelope 2 onto a different knob, okay? And you can actually shape how that knob plays out off of the envelope. Okay, that's going to be in 2 videos from now because I want to actually talk about the oscillator. We're going to go back to the oscillator. We're going to talk about the detune, the blend, the phase, the wavetable position. We can also hop to Silence 1 and we can look at these 2. Again, you can see detune, we see phase, we see pan, volume. Okay, let's hop back to Serum. Again, detune, phase, there's pan, okay, your levels, your volume. So as you can see, all these synths, they're very, very similar. It's just learning the basics, and then when you hop to one synth to the next, not to say that you can pick it up right away and become a pro at it, but you'll have a really, really good grasp of what's going on, okay?